how to write a CV for graduate study admission, for master's admission applications or PhD admission applications. You are trying to send this CV to the committee members who are going to review your application and make decision whether they will give you admission with fund or just admission, things like that. So what are the things they are looking for? Your job is to make their work as easy as possible. As you know, number one thing, they look for the degree, the GPA, things like that. Now, GPA, if you have a very low GPA, then I think it's okay. My undergrad GPA was low, so I was given a conditional admission even with full fund. So it's not that always the GPA is the thing that will they only see. There are other stuff they will see. Now GPA will come in any point, so don't make them open your transcript and get the GPA from there. So list it here. A lot of people will say that if you have low GPA, don't list here. No, they will need that information to make the decision on the admission. So this is a required piece for the admission. So list that here, maybe here. Also, the next important thing is the test score, standard test score like GRE. If you're an international student, they also look for some kind of language proficiency skills, standardized test score. Without this, you will not get basically. So they will need that. So don't make them to open your GRE score or TOEFL score that you send, and make sure that the CV is a standalone document so their job is easier. And I think that kind of help to get admission or fund. The next thing is certification or training or language proficiency. They kind of follow this order sort of educations. It might not carry the whole lot in the admission. However, just to keep the order consistent, education, test score is also kind of like an education and certification. So these are all diploma, certification kind of follow the same order. You can list that here. Employment is huge important. If you have any sort of employment, paid employment, not talking about the voluntary work, somebody pays you for the work. If you have that kind of employment, then list it here. So this academic stuff only talks about your academic. Employment talks about your professionalism. How you do in a professional setting. Even something like newspaper distributor between 2012 and 14. So you can show up on time, work with people, distribute the newspaper on time, things like that. And then, of course, if you are working for your applying for a PhD or master's, you want to have some kind of research interest, list that. They want to see where you want to research, which area. Do the place you are applying, do they have enough support for you to do the research? So that's also an important criteria. Publications, if you are a fresh graduate, undergrad, you might not have a publication, but that's okay. You may have presentations like senior design presentation or thesis presentation, science fair presentation, things like that. You can add in that section. Teaching, mentoring experience, if you have that, also it will help you. A lot of time, these graduate studies, there are many people, many students, they do teaching assistance. So if you have any experience in teaching, even high school teaching or mentoring, list that as well. Award scholarships also tells you that you're kind of a winner as an important criteria for the PhD admission. But this is probably the most important thing, the skills relevant to research. So what do you have in to continue your PhD or master's? So list as much as possible. Doesn't have to be, you don't have to be expert in every single areas. At least you're a little bit familiar with that. You can work with a little bit of training, so you can list them here. Also, this section is always missing the extracurricular volunteer hobbies, which talks about as a person who you are. So far you talked about your academic stuff, your professional stuff, but people want to know as a person, are you really a person too easy to go along with or things like that? People have hobbies. Generally, they're or volunteer, they have these characteristics. They're easy to work with type of characteristics. So this will not help huge, but without having that, I think it's better to have that and not to have it. Now, reference, this is the place where most people will suggest that will be provided on request. Do not do that if you are applying for a PhD or master's applications, because 3 reference is mostly required by any school. So it's better to be upfront and then list them in the CV at the end. Now I'll post all of these. So I will I have already posted a Word file with the border, so you can format very consistently the way you have just seen. Also, I have posted without borders, so you can download in the under the openeducator.com. The PDF version is also there. So I have uploaded all of these right here, so you can download and basically fill it in with your information in there. Also, if you want to know how to consistently format resume or CV, also there is a CV rules here. You can check that PowerPoint. So I have list of stuff there that you should follow for a CV, things like that. I hope this helps to make a better PhD or master study application CV and help you to find a funded admission in a better school.